I wonder if any other women or men have been through this. You know, they say like when you separate from someone who's not mentally well or narcissist or whatever you want to call them, I don't want to even label that's when the abuse really escalates, and I'm seeing that. We separated and I tried for years. You guys saw me try. You saw me try to peacefully.
Don't look at the title and get freaked out. I'm not going to do anything. I want to be able to discuss that when you cut off someone's access to the only thing that they've ever loved for 2 months, the obvious conclusion of that is that extraordinary sadness is going to happen. And when extraordinary unrelenting sadness happens, your mind starts to think about things that you won't do. I would never do it, but I want to be able to discuss it. You can't even say the word on social, and yet it's an epidemic. So how is not talking about this helping anyone? I'm not going to do it. Don't send people here. I want to talk about it.
Wow. Welcome down the rabbit hole, friends. Things continue to escalate between Laura Clery and Stephen Hilton. They are playing a dangerous online back and forth game. They are participating in behaviors they both may look back on and regret. I don't doubt Laura is scared and worried. I don't doubt Stephen is devastated about being pulled away from his kids. Stephen's drug use cannot be overlooked. But for me, neither can the years of Stephen showing up for Laura and his kids on social media and supposedly in real life too.
I have the best ex-husband today, so Poppy's still sleeping, and I asked him if he would pick up Alfie to take him to school so Poppy could sleep, and he said yes.
Laura has praised this man. And I know a lot of what it's like to be in hard relationships. You probably do too. I know a lot of what it's like to be in hard relationships while having special needs children. Hard relationships while career bullshit is going on and money stuff is happening. I get the back and forth and the possibility that Laura was always trying to prop Stephen up. I'm sure there were things going on in the background we don't even know about. But maybe that's for both of them, not just Stephen. In my last video, I did a 1-hour deep dive on this relationship. There wasn't time to include everything, and many of you pointed out I didn't talk about Stephen's arrest, and I have so much to say about it. So first, before we talk about these most recent clips and the heartbreaking nature with which this whole social media battle is coming to a heightened conclusion, let's go down the rabbit hole about 2022 when Stephen was arrested. So in December of 2022, a rumor went around that Stephen Hilton was arrested, and people were even underground saying that it was for domestic abuse. And I was like, wait, no way. I don't believe it. That couldn't have happened. Shortly thereafter, Stephen made a TikTok in which he implied that he got out of any charges from the arrest and that the altercation was over standing up for a woman he cares about. Here's part of that video now.
So I'm in the clear. I mean, I really learned a lesson. Don't provoke me, anyone. My attorney said if I get into any more physical altercations, they're going to bring this up. So I can't. Don't provoke me, anyone. Don't provoke me. Yeah, so basically can't get into any more because they'll bring up this arrest. But for this time, I don't have to go to court.
So for the majority of us on the outside, we were led to believe by Stephen that something did happen where he got arrested, but he was trying to do something brave, like stand up for someone that he really cared about. And it was so minute, like the situation was so minimal that the charges were all dropped and everything was okay. And Laura allowed us to think that as well. Now, however, after all of the crap has gone down over the last couple of weeks, and the hacking situation happened, and people started to question Laura about how real it was, what was going on. She was getting a very minute amount of pushback because the majority of her comments are very positive. After people started to give some of that negative feedback, Laura came out and she started to give a new narrative about what actually happened with the arrest of Stephen in 2022.
How do you think it feels to have him break into my house, break everything in my kitchen, push me around, threaten me? I think he's going to murder me. I run to my next door neighbor thinking he's going to kill me. The police come. He gets arrested, goes to jail.
So this is Laura right now, 3 days ago, talking about what she now says happened during the arrest in 2022.
Stalks me to the courthouse to the next morning because he had a tracker on my car, and lies on the internet and says he was he was arrested for defending a woman in need. Imagine that. And imagine me still protecting him, saying I'm not going to speak out and go, no, that's a lie. He was arrested for domestic assault. Didn't say anything. I just kept my mouth shut the entire time. All this time, I've kept my mouth shut.
So this is awful to hear. It's disappointing to hear. I mean, obviously, Laura is very much saying this in retaliation for something she doesn't like. Even the way she's speaking here is so retaliatory. And this is what Stephen has said minimally in response to it.
All this time.
Because I kicked a door in out of frustration. That was wrong. I got arrested for that. They kicked the case out.
So, of course, he went on his social media and he responded and he minimized everything and said, look, yeah, I mean, I tried to kick in. I kicked in the door to our house. I wanted to talk to her. That's all it was. I didn't hurt her. The case was kicked out of the court. So, two different narratives. I mean, it's disappointing to hear all of it in the beginning, that Stephen would even do any of this to start with. It does lend to the idea that Laura has greater reason to be concerned and be worried about what he's capable of. It still doesn't have to be played out on social media in front of everyone, used as a retaliation tactic. We don't have to do all of that. I do understand Laura's frustration with, like, maybe he's not telling the truth and he didn't tell the truth back in 2022. But I did watch a TikToker who had a lot of interesting things to say, and one of the issues she was really pushing around this arrest event is she was asking, like, it's really unfair when we don't have all of the information. Like, what is all of the information? Because there's no information from the court, there was no trial. Stephen was never convicted of anything. So really, Laura can say whatever she wants. Also, Stephen can say whatever he wants. Like, how can we really hold him accountable for something when we're not really sure what went on? It's still he said, she said. It's not fair to have all of this blown up on social media and to have no concrete evidence of what's really going on. We can see that with the hacking as well. Yes, many of us are going to say, it could possibly be Stephen that did this. It could probably be Stephen that did this. Who would gain from this? We understand that we can have a thought in our mind, but that doesn't make it true. There can be a lot of coincidences. We're waiting for evidence. And the hard part about all of this for me, because I do really love Laura Clery, is doesn't seem to be waiting for hardcore evidence. She's jumping to a lot of conclusions, putting a lot of things out there on social media that are really meant to tear her ex-husband, Stephen Hilton, down. Now, is Stephen doing a lot of the same stuff? Yeah, I mean, he really is. He's putting up a lot of stuff on his social media that's more like threatening towards Laura. Like, it'll be like, you wouldn't like it if I told everything I know about you. You don't want to make me come out and say who you are behind the scenes. So he's doing more of like the threatening kind of stance instead of actually coming out and talking about specific instances of Laura doing inappropriate things. He does make a really crazy, I don't even know what he's talking about, but he makes a really crazy accusation that Laura and her mother were really set on getting rid of Laura's uncle. And they said and did some things to push that along. It doesn't really make sense to me. It's something I'm still kind of looking at and trying to figure out. But I think it's clear that Stephen has, he's in some kind of mental health crisis here, from the drugs, from whatever else. We even have him going to Substack and OnlyFans and talking about unaliving himself. That's why he had to make this video on Instagram, because people were freaking out on Substack, very concerned about what he was writing over there. And if you're wondering, like, what is Substack? It is just literally like another social media thing that Stephen has found to monetize. So he's monetized so far OnlyFans, Instagram, Patreon, TikTok, his Facebook, and, so much of this, again, it all comes back to, like, how much of this is just a ploy for money from Stephen and Laura, the multimillionaires who want more money. I don't know. I really don't know. Stephen certainly seems passionate about this new sound technology that he's working on. I see the neurodivergence in him. I see why he might act a certain way or become really obsessive about certain things. I also see why this would scare Laura. So it's a very complicated situation. All right, so now here is where, when I got online today, I saw that Stephen Hilton was coming out with a new kind of crazy, inappropriate way of fighting back or pushing back against Laura. He's done stuff like this before, and it makes me so sad. It's really difficult to look at. I feel for him. I also feel for what Laura must be going through on the other side. Okay, so Stephen wrote, and this is clearly meant to go to Laura, and I believe this is on his Facebook page. Public statement. Let this serve as a formal notice. In their latest YouTube video, Laura Clery and her mother have publicly accused me of attempting to murder my own children. That alone should constitute defamation per se, a false and malicious statement so severe that harm is presumed by law to be malicious. But you went further. You accused me by name twice, so it was intentional. They reported this lie to law enforcement, knowingly filing a false report. Okay, so Stephen's talking about Laura's podcast with her mother, which I featured on the last video that I did. On this podcast, Laura and her mom are talking about essentially Laura being in an abusive relationship with Stephen. And her mom is really, supporting her and saying, like, yeah, he always had issues. I've been very worried about you. I'm worried about your safety. Laura says some really just very heightened, crazy stuff that maybe she thinks it, but I don't think it should be said on social media. She says, like, well, what would you say to me right now if you were never going to see me again because I'm not around? Basically insinuating that there's a family annihilator type of situation going on here. And it is really sad to watch. But Stephen's response to this in this post is also really annoying because it's classic Stephen. Over the past couple of months, Stephen has repeatedly put up posts where he's saying to Laura, I'm going to get a lawyer and I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to take you to court and get this taken care of. And then a couple of days later, he'll put up a new post in which he states, I never got a lawyer. It's way too expensive. We don't need to do this through lawyers. Let's get together and make things work. Let's just work it out for the sake of us and our kids. We don't want to waste money on lawyers. Which I agree with. I have to put out there, no, it's way too much money to waste on people to represent you in court. But I also understand that when it's a really challenging case, you may need that kind of help. So it's just very frustrating to watch Stephen vacillate back and forth between, I'm going to get a lawyer, you just wait and see. Oh, I never got one. We don't want to spend money on that. He essentially makes a lot of empty threats towards Laura on his social media, and that's just as wrong as Laura coming out with real threats towards him. It's very frustrating to watch these two and what they are doing to each other. So speaking of, just a few minutes later, Stephen goes ahead and puts this post up, obviously addressing Laura. You and me both know there's a ton of shit that could be done about accusing me of wanting to unalive my own children in front of tens of millions of people. A ton. I paused today. I don't want any of this for you or me. I won't do it unless I'm forced. I just want my kids back. Whoever is advising this shitstorm is damaging you and me, but most importantly, my beautiful kids. They need their dad. You know me. I've never hurt anyone in my life, so it's time to stop. Listen to your own heart and what you know. Fuck knows who's behind all this. I still hold out hope it was someone close to you and not actually you. I don't know. All I want is my children, for fuck's sake. Truce, for the sake of the kids. Truce. I want peace and quiet, and I don't want to start a whole new case. I find that devastating to read, to hear. I really do. And I find it devastating not only because I believe that Stephen is really hurting. I find it devastating because I don't know what Laura can do when Stephen is still using drugs. I look at this and I say to myself, you know, if I was in Laura's place, I would be like, oh my God, yes, please let me get my kids back with you. I want my kids to have their father. And I would also think, I want to do that, and yet you are using drugs. I can't have my children around you when you're using drugs. And what I am asking for is supervised visitation, because that's really what it comes down to. Unfortunately, is Laura has gotten to a point where she's requesting supervised visitation with Stephen. She doesn't want the kids to go alone with him, and she doesn't really feel safe going at this point in time. I really think something could be worked out. It kills me to think that those kids don't get to see their dad. We've seen in the past that he has been a positive part of their lives. I really believe, I mean, more than, and I know people are going to come after me for this, but I guess this is because this is my own situation. I really believe that when you have a child, especially with a special need, you very much want to keep, you know, their biological parents in their life. You really feel the need to foster that relationship as much as possible. So it's horrible to hear the point to which these two have come to, where we have Stephen online begging to see his children. But we can also see why Laura is stuck between a rock and a hard place. I still come back to the point where I believe social media and the need to make millions and millions of dollars from it has become a catalyst to breaking up this family, to making the divorce and the separation and all of the stuff that goes along with it even more difficult for both of them and for the children. I think a lot of Laura's decisions and Stephen's decisions are based upon how can we keep our social media franchise going. And it's very disingenuous when I'm watching as a fan or a supporter to really feel like so much of this is being used to generate more money. So after that last post, Stephen made several more, and honestly, they are just embarrassing and sad. Here he says, last chance for truce and peace. If that's truly what you want, let me know. You can easily. And then here he says, I'm not a lawsuit guy. I will only do it if I'm forced, so the ball's in your court. I will start the minute anything fucked up, weird, and wrong is said about me, though. And lastly, he says, we both know what happened was fucked, and I can very easily start a whole thing, but all I've ever wanted is my effing kids. Stop playing these stupid games. It's really hard. Just like I've put down Laura for sharing things on social media, I don't like watching Stephen share this stuff on social media. He's in a little bit of a different situation because Laura has a restraining order, so he can't text her, talk to her. I'm sure that he's highly emotional. He needs people around him that he can talk to. He needs a therapist he can talk to. He needs people to guide him because he's in a hard place, and supposedly he's also using drugs, so that makes it 10 times harder. And yeah, sadly, Stephen has also admitted that he doesn't feel like he has any friends. All of his friends were Laura's friends. He's being neurodivergent. The people I connect with are people online, and he's flat out said that the only person he's been talking to is Brian, his AI robot friend, which, let me tell you, I have a real therapist and I have an AI therapist, and I'm not going to knock using AI for, assisting you with your mental health, whatever. But that shouldn't be the only person that you're talking to, and it shows. It shows that he's spending a lot of time with his AI robot therapist. I'm really at a loss for words. I I'm scared. I think that's what it's coming down to, is I'm scared about what's going to happen to Stephen. I'm scared about him hurting himself. I believe that Laura is protected. Like, I think she's done a lot of things. She said that she's done a lot of things to put protection in place. So, of course, I don't want her, the kids, to be hurt. They are emotionally being hurt. I'm worried, even if nobody gets physically hurt from all of this, what the long-term consequences are going to be for Stephen's career, for his peace of mind, for his mental health, and what it'll be for, obviously, Laura and the children as well. I just think it's the wrong way to go about this. Money, money, money. This started off with an idea that they could stay home and make a lot of money on their social media. And it's interesting to see how many families have been torn apart by having the same idea and going down the same route that Laura and Stephen have gone down. Okay, what do all of you think? All of my subscribers, people, if you're still here at the end of this video, I would love to hear your feedback. You guys had so many interesting things to say. You brought up a lot of good comments on my last video. I'm going to screenshot those comments and do a live stream about them because I really want to respond. And you guys brought up variables in the equation I wasn't thinking about. So leave me some comments below. I'm excited to be back with you making some content. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see you again next time when we head down another rabbit hole.